Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Reinspire Printing and Ape Stride Grip Socks. Don't get caught slipping in any circumstances. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. Today, we are back in the Vale Hotel. I want to say a big thank you to those for letting us film here. And we've got a very special guest. He is a former member of the British Army, also a celebrity bodyguard, and he's now someone who is trying to transition into the acting world and also has his own clothing brand. He's been on many podcasts, and every single one I've watched, I've really, really enjoyed. But I'm hoping this one we can get something a little different out of this. And I warmly welcome Mr. Simon Newton.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
What's going on, Simon? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, not bad.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
How was your drive down?
Yeah, it was all right. Not too bad. Yeah, I didn't get stuck in any traffic, so I'm probably maybe on the way back. But London's just getting out of London's the worst bit. The rest of it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you noticed when you was coming in, but in Wales, we've got a 20 mile per hour, like a blanket ban. Did you notice that? Like that? You,
no, not for, I didn't see 20. It went down to 40 quite a bit until I turned off. But when I turned off, it almost took me straight here. Like
so you was on the
down the lanes and here. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty easy then.
Yeah, it's 20 in London. Everywhere's 20 now in London.
Oh, so you're pretty used to that then as well. Like, yeah. Well, apparently, I think in Wales now we've got it everywhere, like, which is just a fucking piss take. Yeah. I understand built up areas and stuff, but not in back lanes and stuff, you know?
Yeah, well, a lot of back lanes outside now are still 60 miles an hour.
That's what it is. Some of them are like 20 and then they go into like a 60 zone. You're like, what's going on here? So we'll leave that for another podcast. How's things, mate? I see you're very busy on the old Instagram.
Yeah, I've always got lots going on. I mean, it's a funny time of year now, isn't it? We're in November, so coming up to Christmas, things tend to die down slightly. But with the security company, everything's busy. With the film world, it calms down around now, really, until next year. Same with the publications and magazines and other bits and pieces I get up to. It's all, it starts to knock off a little bit this time of year. But generally, till middle of December, I'll be busy, and then I'll be super busy again in January next year.
Yeah, you've lived a fascinating life, haven't you?
Yeah. It's been, I wouldn't say it's been all over the place. It's kind of been within keeping, but I've done a lot of different things. Yeah.
And do you ever reflect on that and like kind of deep, like the things you've done, the places you've been, the people you've been with?
Yeah, I think when I used to do it, I didn't appreciate what I was doing really and where I was going. I've been to something like 64 different countries, and most of that was, some of it's been holidays, but most of it's been work. You know what I mean? So I've been paid to go to all them places. And I've met a lot of different people, a lot of people that you wouldn't normally get access to. So when I look back at it now, I think, I've done quite a bit and been quite lucky with certain things there. But at the time, I don't think I really sort of thought much of it. Yeah.
And one of the things that strikes me with you is what you said just before we came on. You know, people want to talk about their life stories all the time, but you know, I'm still young. Like I've got a lot to achieve. You know, I've got goals ready to set, and that's what I admire about you. You know, you could easily sit back and kind of, you know, enjoy the fruits.
Yeah, from what I've already done.
Yeah. Because you have been very successful. It seems like you want to be a go-getter.
Yeah,
still.
I don't feel like I'm finished at all. I think it's nice as well when you're doing podcasts. Obviously, like you said earlier, I've done quite a few now. That it's good to maybe come on one in 2 or 3 years' time again, and then talk about what you've done since your last podcast. So I haven't really seen anyone do that. Maybe there is out there, I'm sure probably 1 or 2 people, but in general, it's not a normal trait for podcasts. Everyone normally talks about their history and whatever it is they've been up to for the last 20 odd years of their adult life or longer. And then it ends there, which is fine, you know, but I don't want to be 60 and still talking about what I did between 20 and 40.
So 2 things then I want to ask you. Number 1, do you think you're going to achieve a lot in the next 3 years? Are you excited for the next 3 years? And the second question I want to ask you, do you want to forget your past? Because you have had quite a mad past.
Yeah. The first question is 100%. In my eyes, I think I'll achieve more in the next 20 years than what I did in the last.
Really?
If I have my way, if I do what I want to do, you know what I mean? However, depending on what stuff you're into and what you want to do, other people might look at it and say, the first part of my life was more interesting to them, maybe. But to me, I think I'm going to achieve a lot more. I never want to forget. Obviously, you don't want to forget my past. I had a really good time with everything I've done. There's bits obviously when we're working away in the Middle East and that. There's bits you kind of put in a different folder in your head because it's not particularly great. But by and large, I quite often think about the things I've done in the past when I've been with people and I walking along the street and I start laughing. If anyone sees me, they must think I look mental. But because I'm just thinking of something or something's reminded me of something a long time ago. So yeah, I've had a real good. When I look back at it, I've had a lot of fun. Although the jobs always haven't been particularly savoury, I've had a lot of fun along the way.
Do you count yourself lucky that you're still alive?
Little bit of luck in there. Little bit of luck mixed with good decisions.
Yeah.
Because there's many of it aren't. That's the thing.
No, exactly. And I think, luck probably needs to be on your side, but it is that decision making, that consequence at the forefront. And I think as a bodyguard, you need that. I assume
as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, you're not always going to get it right, but sometimes you have a bit of a sixth sense, and you've got to go with your gut instinct, really.
So naturally, obviously, with these podcasts, we do like to take it back to the beginning. We're not going to do that. We're not going to take it back to the beginning. I know you are from Eastbourne originally. Yeah. You proud to be from Eastbourne?
Yeah, so I mean, I lived there. I lived there until I started with the military, and then I always knew I wasn't going to stay in Eastbourne. I think.
Yeah.
It's nothing down there. I did have a job when I was down there, working in an engineering factory, which the guy who owned that at the time, I always take my hat off to him because it's like the first job of my adult working life, and I was shit at it. Like I used to scrap everything. Do you know what I mean? I was useless, and he still always kept me on and put me through the start of apprenticeship. But I always knew I wanted to be in the military. So I think my heart then really was on that more than it was on anything else. But yeah, I did. I worked down there for a little bit. I had like a normal job, and then that's probably about the only normal job I've really ever had, to be honest.
So yeah, your heart was set on the military, and in 2000 you joined the military.
Yeah, I've got posted out to Canada.
Okay.
I actually started as a reservist back in 1999-2000, and I got as soon as I was eligible, I got a posting out to Canada for 14 months, just on exercise. It was we used to run. I think I got rid of it now actually, but British Army Training Unit Suffield Battersea it was called, and at the time it was the only place in the world where British Army could live fire a full battle group. So battle group being tanks, artillery, mortar, all the infantry companies. Everyone could live fire and conduct a live attack as a battle group out there because the area was huge. So we did 2 weeks of live firing, 2 weeks of what used to be called test exercise, which was blank firing, but you fired lasers. And you had like dots around on your kit and equipment. So I did that. I did quite a long time on that. Went through winter there as well. And then it wasn't long after I got back, I went straight on pre-deployment training for Iraq, 2003, Iraq. I went out there on Telic 2. Well, towards the end of 1, started 2. And I did 6 months with the military in Iraq. When I was out there, that's when I bumped into a mate of mine who used to be in the army. And he was with a private security company. And he said to me, "What are you doing out here in the army? I'm out of this private security company. He's on like 6 times more money every month. The conditions he had was a lot better than what I was living in." He said, "Why don't you get a job with ease?" And I was 23 years old at the time, I think. So I thought it was a bit young. And I said, "Well, I'll get a job." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'll do your CV and put it in." And he stuck it in the office. I gave him a call when I was out in Iraq. And they said they want to offer me in for an interview, but they can't offer me a job all the time I'm still in the military. So at the time, the office for that company, I got an office for my security company. It's just backs onto it. I never thought, all these years on, I'd have my own security company with an office what backed onto that because it's the first company I ever worked for. Wow. So consequently, I left. I got out as soon as I could. I had a choice to stay in the military. I was going to be posted to Catwick after, and I had a chance to go on a course with a different unit. And if I passed the course, I would have stayed at Catwick, which one of my mates did, and I didn't. He chose that, and I chose to get out and do the private. Yeah, and I went up to London when I got out and said, "Look, I'm out. I'm done. I'm free." And they offered me a job, and because I was quite young, I must have maybe think I might have turned 24 around that time. The guy who was interviewing me was an ex-officer from 2-9 Commando, I think he was, Artillery Commandos. And he knew my boss, who I was working with in Iraq. So he said, well, you've done quite a bit for a junior soldier sort of thing. Do you mind if I just give this guy a ring? So I actually know him. I used to work with him. He used to be in the army with me. So I said, yeah, fine. Anyway, next day I got an email saying, look, you got the job. Can you fly out next week? Yeah, and that was it. I went to Iraq for 3 years, just over 3 years.
What, when you was in the army, did you see much action at all? Or was it like pretty quiet that time for you and then you went?
A little bit. It's a funny time because it's right at the end of the war. So it was meant to be transitioning into the Iraqi reconstruction phase, bringing the country.
Like they've caught Saddam and...
Yeah, they caught him because he hid up for quite a while to start with. So they caught him halfway through our tour, I think, roughly. So 3 or 4 months after the war, until he actually got caught. But we was all out there really to start rebuilding the country and installing everything back in supplies and medical supplies and power and everything else.
Yeah.
But then that's when we actually started getting attacked quite heavily. So maybe more so is certain. So the way the British Army do it, it's done 6-month tours. That particular tour is called Operation Telic, and then it goes every 6 months. It's 1, 6 months, 2, 3, 4, 5. So some of the later Telics, say around 8, 9, 10 or 11, probably did more war fighting than what they did in the Telic, in the war, yeah. So I started getting the beginning of the rough period.
Really?
Yeah, because that's when they started to, once the war was over and we settled in for a month or two, they started to turn. So yeah, I did see a little bit. I had a job where I was going out taking a couple of American officials, I call them that, to look for weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons, or any sort of chemical waste at all, which we didn't find nothing of it. But yeah, it's quite a good job for me. I quite enjoyed that. And then that got a bit too dangerous in the end because the way things were going, we didn't have armoured cars. We was in civilian clothing as well at the time, so we went back into uniform and started using Land Rovers with better kit and equipment, really.
Is there one memory that stands from that first time out there with the British Army?
Is there what, sorry?
One memory that like stands out to you?
What, good or bad?
Well, let's go with the bad.
All right. Not really bad, but I mean, I remember it's the first time I ever saw a dead body from being shot, proper dead body, if you like. And it happened only a few minutes, or not even that, probably around the corner from where we was, and we just happened to be driving around the corner. We heard the gunshot. It's just one shot, and we got around the corner, and the guy had been executed, basically, bullet hole right in between his eyes, with his wife and his 2 children there, sort of crying over him, as you would. And I just remember thinking, first of all, oh, right, that's what a dead body looks like. And then I remember thinking, fucking hell, imagine like your wife and 2 children just, it's bad enough dying, but they probably saw it because they were already there as well.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, then, life's cheap. And also, you remember that you're carrying guns with live ammunition. You're gonna, this is what you're here for. Yeah. So it's a little bit of but then within 10 seconds that had gone out of my mind, and we was carrying on with. One
good message, one bit of hope out there. Did you see anything positive or?
Not really, mate. To be honest.
Sad, man.
Not really, because if you look at it now, which we can't because the media never cover it really, but I don't think the same as Afghanistan.
You shouldn't have been there.
Just both of them have been a waste of time, I think, really. I mean, other people might say different, I'm not sure. Politicians, and I think as he made an absolute fortune out of it over the years, I'm not going to agree. But for the terms of the good of the UK people, and for the good of the Iraqi and Afghan people, That's it. What we did, really.
And did you know that when you was there? Did you question that when you was there, or was you still
Probably
young?
not, because it's too early. Because especially in Iraq, I was there right at the beginning, so we never knew how that was going to turn out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm guessing. I think we knew the weapons of mass destruction thing, which I believe at the time was kind of the reason why we supposedly went in there.
And you believe that there could have been some...
Well, me probably not a lot earlier than everyone else, because my job was to go looking for it. You know, as long as lots of other people did it as well. But, you know, that was one of my jobs. So I knew quite quickly it wasn't looking good. And during the war phase, there wasn't any chemical weapons used.
Wow.
So...
yeah. So what about private security then? Was that a different ball game altogether? Or?
Massively, yeah. I worked out... I did a little bit of time in Basra down in the south, and then I did a lot of my time up in Baghdad, a bit further up north.
Describe Iraq. What's that like?
I liked Iraq. I mean, it's run down, obviously. You know, it is war torn, and it's probably getting a bit better now. But it's hot, very hot. Sometimes 50, 60 degrees down south in the summer. And when you've got your kit and equipment on, that's, you know, you're sweating constantly all day. So it's very hot. But I like the hot weather. It's one of the things I always remember more than anything else is the smells of oil. You know, the smells you get out in the streets, the smells of oil, smells of cooking. Quite often the tarmac on the roads, because where the weather got so hot with sun. Yeah, just petrol, diesel. The actual country itself, I don't really know what to compare it to be honest. It was run down. But people seem to be very happy. Not so much with us, because I don't think they really wanted us there. But in general, in their family lives and their home lives, they seem to be really happy. You know, it's got an easy, slow pace of life. In countries like that, most of your life is spent surviving. You know, it's growing food, making sure you've got clean water. Maybe sometimes you have a job, sometimes you don't have a job. There's no going down private members club on a Saturday night for a few drinks with your mate, and you know,
it's similar. I think the way I look at it is probably how we lived in the medieval times and before.
Kind of
growing on your own land, surviving. Not that social side of life,
and like any society as well. You know, there was parts of society with more money than others, so they obviously they lived differently. A lot of them probably
big
fled.
Contrasts.
Yeah, and they probably fled during the invasion because they could. You know, maybe they'd gone to places like Dubai and Kuwait and wherever else. So there was a lot of sorry, not a lot, but there was entitlement there still, like there is in any society. Just wasn't a lot of it. Yeah. What
was some of the jobs you do as a private? Like, explain private security to me in a war zone. Like,
yeah. So out there, we used to. So I had two jobs. One of the main ones I did was convoys, and that was escorting kit and equipment. So we'd have gun trucks, armored gun trucks, which were Ford. I'm gonna say 350 or 550 gun trucks. Can't remember now, and they were fully up armored. B6 armor, which could handle most things, not everything, but it could handle most explosions, depending on where it hit and how it hit. And we'd drive out from, say, Baghdad out to Jordan.
Wow.
And then we would pick up all sorts of things, so medical supplies. I did a job for the Japanese government where we brought in electricity substations, these huge substations, and they would sort of like give power back to Baghdad. So we would pick them up from Jordan and bring them in. The only problem with that job was because it was big stuff, we had to stay on the main supply routes. So we used to get hit all the time because you couldn't do back streets, and you know, you're always getting hit, constantly getting hit on them. So lots of guys died on that job. I mean, one of the things we had on the truck was everyone had their own medical kit and equipment personally on their own body, and that was only to be used on you. So if you got hit and I come up to you, I'd use your kit on you. You wouldn't use your own kit on someone else. But then on top of that, we had medical kits in each vehicle, and on top of that, every vehicle had to carry 2 body bags. And if you run out of body bags, you use sleeping bags. So that kind of gives you, for a private security company, the risk was quite high on that job. Yeah, it's a tough one.
So you know, these jobs, like you said, is to, like, you know, bring back power and stuff. So it was, you know, kind of doing a service to help.
Yeah, we said to help them. Yeah,
was there other combat as well involved in this?
Well, yeah, because there's still attack you. There's still ambush you. lots of guys got killed on that, particularly with IEDs, improvised explosive
So you
devices.
saw death more on that one then?
Yeah, I saw a lot of dead people over the years. I worked out there, yeah, in the end, yeah. I mean, that one I spoke about earlier was just the first one I'd ever seen as a young lad. But yeah.
I said to you earlier, when I look in your eyes, like I see like it's just like when I look on like some of your photos as a bodyguard, I see like that odd look, like, it's not a vacant look, but
yeah.
would you say a lot of that's down to what you've seen over there?
Maybe. I mean, I always say that I've been one of the lucky ones, and I just sort of got on with it. It doesn't really, I don't have sleepless nights or fireworks. Not really good with. If I'm unaware that they're going to be going off, make me jump.
Yeah.
Crowds are not so good with these days. But by and large, it's nothing. A lot of guys, if they've suffered from real bad PTSD, then they've taken their own lives. It's the worst what can happen out of it. I don't know. I've been very lucky. I don't have any of that. I've not had any problems with anything. I don't shut my eyes and see things I shouldn't. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not really bothered me.
Did you take anyone's life out there?
No.
Why would you do? Is it a reason why? If you are denying it, is it a reason for that?
No, but I think some things are better left forgotten.
You're not proud of that time.
No, I'm not proud of anything like that. So when you're in the army, obviously you attack. So you're out to kill people. Not all the time, but quite often you're out to kill people. Private security, you're not out to kill anyone. You're there to defend yourself. But on occasions, that could mean shooting back to be able to defend yourself, obviously. So it did happen quite a bit, with ambushes and whatnot. I don't think there's anything to be proud of with that, really. It's part of the job.
Scariest moment for you?
Oh, plenty. But you get used to having your arse in your mouth, to be honest. Yeah, plenty. But you just get used to it, weirdly. It's not, and it's not probably a good thing to get used to, but you get used to just being scared. But you're not scared that you can't do your job properly. That's the thing. The worry is always there when it gets bad. But I laugh. When it's all going wrong, I laugh. I don't know why. That seems to be my thing.
That's your thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Was you confident that you was good at your job?
I was happy. Yeah. I never woke up in the morning about to go out on a job thinking, I don't know if this might be too big a job for me, sort of thing. I was happy. I was always keen to get stuck in. When you're working in that environment, same as military, you've got to be, when it all goes wrong, you've got to be 110% committed to what you're doing. And so is everyone else in the team. Because you can't afford for anyone to only be working at 50% or 60% because they don't really want to be there, or maybe they're a little bit too
But they're
worried.
letting not just themselves down, but they're letting you down.
They're letting everyone else down as well, yeah. And particularly like in Afghanistan, we was looking after people, so we was looking after life, not kit and equipment. So it's even more important then, because if you can't look after yourself, how can you look after someone else? You're getting paid by the Foreign Commonwealth Office at the time to do that job. So you've got to be confident, yeah. And I always was. I never really come across anything where I thought, there's a few situations I got in where I thought, fucking hell, you idiot. Do you know what I mean? You got yourself into this one. But nothing where I've really thought that I wouldn't be able to, I was always up for it. I was always up for the go.
What do you think it takes to go out there and be able to survive as a private security person?
There's all sorts of different levels of people out there. So I don't know. I mean, everyone had their agendas. Mine was money. And it's what I knew at the time, leaving the military. I'd just been in Iraq as well, so I knew the area quite well. Yeah, I don't know, really.
Is there a relationship with the British Army and private security?
Not really. I think in the early days, actually, they didn't mind guys leaving to go and do that, but because the private security out there took off quite a big way not long after I started there. I think that I might be wrong, but I think the military might have stopped people getting out to go and do that because they were losing so many people.
Wow.
Or tried to stop them. But no, I mean, there is a relationship in terms of if you get hit when you're out on the ground, they'll come and help if they're free to come and help. So like their medical helicopters, or if they've got a quick reaction force in a local camp nearby, they will come out and they'll help you. But only if they're not busy. If they're busy with their own guys, they get first.
So there's never like a collaborated job you'll go on, or
No, not. There was a little bit in Afghanistan. We would turn up with various different from Commonwealth Office because the British ambassador in Afghanistan at the time has military protection. So there was times where you would sort of cross paths a little bit, but things like the convoy job in Iraq, no, nothing like that. So.
There's I've seen like some videos and stuff, especially on TikTok and stuff, for like pages of private securities, like the American ones, these British ones. Like, is there like a certain, like, is it different, like well-known security firms out there who are like the kiddies out there? Or?
There used to be. I wouldn't know what they are now, if I'm honest. But back then there was, and a lot of them have changed because they change all the time.
Were they called anything?
So back then, Blackwater was a big one.
Blackwater, that's the videos
the American one. Yeah, that's changed now to something else. It might have been changed twice since. I'm not sure. There was one out there called Dynacore. Armour Group was out there. A company called Control Risk Group. Triple Canopy. I mean, there's hundreds of them out there in the end.
Was there really?
Yeah, in the end there was. Between there and Afghanistan, there was loads of some small, some big.
Yeah.
Blackwater was at the time. When I first went to Iraq private security, watched a video where 2 Blackwater private security operators
dragged down the streets.
Yeah, and they were hung from the bridge and set on fire. Yeah, so that was our introduction video to see if it's somewhere that we really wanted to work, and that was Blackwater. They got ambushed on, I think it was Route Irish, maybe. I know it wasn't. It was up north somewhere. Yeah, they got ambushed and taken over.
Fucking hell! What was going through your head?
Well, it didn't matter to me. I'd already been out there with the army, and so I'd only been back like a month. If I hadn't been out there, bro, and I'd just seen that video, I don't know what I would have thought, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone thinks it's not going to be them. You think it's not going to be you, but it also can quite easily be you, because it was people getting hit all the time out there.
What was your final straw with that then? Like, what was your kind of, I'm done with this?
I always said, when I was on the convoys, because it's quite heavy, I always said the day I woke up, I don't want to be here, I'm leaving. And one morning I woke up, I just don't want to do this anymore. I handed my notice in for that, and I went straight, same company, they sent me to Afghanistan. And I did 2 years in Afghanistan. And then I just started getting fed up with being away. It wasn't the danger side of it back then.
It wasn't the danger side?
Not really, no. Because I think if you don't like the danger, you won't do it for 3 or 4. It's a long time to do it when you don't like something, 3 or 4 years. But I just got fed up with being away. By then I was 28. I hadn't experienced much of a young adult life of normality, going out drinking and just doing all the normal
Yeah, was
things.
it like, as a private security guy out there, is a sex life existent?
Nah,
is impossible.
Yeah, you can drink sometimes a little bit, but it's very
Do
controlled.
they have, like, because obviously it's a Muslim country now, do they have like that kind
They
of
used to
like
on camps.
westernized world? You
Some
can
of the
have
military
prostitutes
camps,
and
some of the military camps used to have drinking place. You just get tins of beer. It wasn't anything special.
but like like in the Vietnam movies where the girls come over. None of that.
No, and the towns did. If you wanted to risk going downtown but getting your head cut off at the same time, that's up to you. But
really,
yeah, I mean, the towns had them, but I mean, no one. It's all out of bounds to the military, and you weren't allowed.
You don't go town.
No. Private security, we used to go to town because we used to have to go in town a lot anyway. But the military, out of bounds, get in trouble.
What was worse for you, would you say? Afghanistan or Iraq?
Oh, Iraq, just because of the job. Because of the job. But the thing with the convoys was, because you wasn't looking after people and it's kit and equipment, we always had to go out. So even if there was like a blanket, no move for all the Westerners in Baghdad, we would still have to go out because the kit comes across. If we're not there, it gets stolen.
Yeah.
So we went out regardless of what happened, really. So that one was
interesting. So you come out of private security, you come out of a war zone. Was security your next step? Bodyguarding, was that your next step?
Yeah, when I had enough in Afghanistan, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And a good friend of mine, Sam, I was talking to him one day, and I said, "Look, I want to go back, mate, but I don't really know what, I don't want to go back to nothing. I don't know what I want to do." Bearing in mind, before that, I was in the military, so it kind of still felt like being in the military doing private security, really. So I hadn't gone through that whole transition properly in my head from being a military person to being a civilian.
Well, yeah, like just quickly back to maybe something I didn't ask, but being in the army, you're licensed to carry your weapons and stuff. Is that the same in private security? Then you're allowed to carry weapons and stuff, or is it just the fact you're in Iraq, it's a war zone, it's the Wild West, just carry a weapon?
At the time, so UK obviously nothing like that at all. But at the time, it depends what country you're working in. Some countries allow it. Back in Iraq, we didn't. I think towards the end of my time, we started having to have weapons permits to start with. For the first 2 to 3 years, we didn't have anything.
Just rocking out.
Yeah. And Afghanistan, because I was on an FCO contract, we was under different laws and regulations to what your normal private security company would be. But
yeah, sorry about that. I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah.
So you met Dan.
Sam. I decided I wanted to leave, and he said, "Well, why don't you go and work?" Well, my mate said, "Why don't you go and work back in London?" You mentioned that a few times, and I thought about it. I thought, do you know what? I have thought about that.
Is that a natural progression?
Yes,
security to bodyguarding.
For me, I was still single. I didn't live anywhere particularly, so I could move around and do what I wanted. When you first start as a freelance bodyguard, the work's very unstable, especially in the early days of trying to get enough work to live. So if you've got a wife and children and stuff, or husband and children, it can be difficult to get enough regular work. Yeah. So that can put people off. They'd rather go back to a decent job, because my life setup was do what I want, really. It allowed me to do it. But when I was in Afghanistan, going back a little bit, I went on leave, and I'd only been home a couple of days. I went up to Edinburgh to see a mate of mine drinking, because he was out on the job with me in Afghanistan, and he come back home on leave with me. And I had a call from a guy and said, "Will you look after a gentleman in London in a couple of days' time?" So I said, "No," because I thought, I don't want to work. I'm on my four weeks off here. I don't really want to go and do 10 days work. So I said no, and then plus I was at my mate's house, and then the guy rang me back and he said, "You sure you don't want to do it? We'll offer you this amount of money, blah, blah." And I said to my mate, "Look, he's called me twice now, this guy." He goes, "Just do it." He said, "Because just go and do it, because you never worked in London before, so it just give you an idea of what it's all about." So I said, "Yes, I'll do it." I flew back down. I missed my flight. Get another flight. Flew back down straight to. I had to buy all my clubber, because I had nothing with me, because I was still living in Eastbourne at the time. I didn't have enough time from London to Eastbourne to back up to London. So I went into a bathroom in some hotel near Luton Airport. Can't remember now, a long time ago. Put all this stuff on, of all the creases and everything else in the packet shirts and all that, and sat down in a room where I was told to meet everyone, and it was Michael Jackson.
What?
Yeah, so it was my first job in London or in the UK as a bodyguard was for Michael Jackson.
Well, the question I was going to ask you was Michael Jackson, Kendall Jenner, Rita Ora, Bella Hadid, and many, many more. Did you have to earn that? Was the first kind of people you went with, I don't know, Brentford Town's fucking striker?
Well, my first one was Michael Jackson. So,
fucking hell, mate.
Oh, you're never going to get any, do you know what I mean? It's all done. It's a career over in one job, really.
Was you moonwalking?
Yeah, I'm not bad at that as it goes.
Yeah.
I am quite good. Socks on the vinyl floor.
You can't, that's the only thing you can't do with these. You just can't moonwalk on these. Everything else, they're good.
That's good. You can't, can you? That's not good, is it? It's just a floor in them. Anyway.
What was that like? Come on, talk me through
so
that, mate.
I mean, that was a busy job. I again, first time I saw, Michael Jackson get off the plane, and I thought, oh, right.
Simon!
So that's what Michael Jackson looks like. And then again, I was over it, and then we just sort of did the job, and we went
Was it very professional, like, or did you speak to this guy? Did you want him?
Yeah, we spoke to him, but not, I mean, it was 5 of us on the job, so not all the time, but we didn't move him around that much because it's too difficult to move him around that much. Just too many fans all the time. Out the front of the hotel, we took him to in Bayswater in southwest London. There was like 250 fans out there around the clock. You know, we had to put barriers out there in the end. We had police presence in the end. We had 5 to 10 black cabs permanently on a meter for fans just to jump in because they paid them to stay on the meter. So if we drove off anywhere, they could follow us. And then you got all the paps on top of that with all their motorbikes. And, you know, it was a very busy job. But I enjoyed it. It was good fun. Back then, there wasn't really much social media, so it didn't get much coverage like that. But I think we was on MTV. I think we got a snippet in the Sun newspaper, which was a big deal back then. 2006 this was.
You know, I suppose for the CV and the experience, that job there must have set you up.
Well, you'd think, but not really. I mean, I didn't use it. I never used it because...
I bodyguard Michael Jackson. Yeah, I'm good, I promise.
It's a funny thing. When I finished the job, a mate of mine I used to be in the army with, lived in London. He said, come stay with me for a night and we'll go out for a drink. So we went out for a drink, Leicester Square. I remember being there, I can't remember, it wasn't that, it was years ago, but it was in some club there, and this bird says to me, yeah, what are you doing in London if you're from Eastbourne? I said, I'll just be looking after Michael Jackson. She went bullshit. Just walked off. And I thought, I suppose that is a bit of a you know, a bit of a chat up line.
You know, it is a bit mad, like to see that. It's like, wow, fuck off, new never.
Yeah. So that made me laugh. But yeah, no, I never really used it because it just, you can't. When you come back, like when I come back from Afghanistan, I started working private security in London. You're just the same as everyone else. So you got to get on and do the job. You know, you got to start building your career again, really, because it's a different job. It's not the same job.
Different way of life.
Yeah. It's just it's a different, and it took me time to just slowly get in with people, and you know, and get offered work and do the work, and it just went on really. It wasn't until 2010 I set up. I'd done 2 years in London as a freelance player, and then I set up my own company, 2010, private security company. Did
you some of these names, was this when your security firm was set up, or was this when you was just
no? That was sort of like in between stage. I worked with Dubai Royal Family for a couple of years, and then I left
who?
Dubai Royal Family.
Really?
In London. And then I set up a business. And then in the early days, because the business was only small, although I set up a business, I was still working for other people. At the time, I was going around ships as well, doing the anti-piracy off the coast of Somalia.
So that's security, proper security.
Yeah, look, it was armed as well. That was.
When I think of security in Britain, I just think like, you know, bouncer. Fucking, I don't know, you know, the odd fucking loan shark maybe, I don't know. Well, no, that's not really it, but and then, you know, when you say abroad, it just sounds like a totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they say the tankers are armed because they used to get attacked by the Somalis.
Yeah.
Come out and get you. But so I'd go out and do, say, 10 days of that a month. At the time I was running my business and building the business up.
So you was on the sea, at sea?
Yeah, I was at sea, yeah.
What was that like?
Shit for running a business because there's no communication, but I you know, it's an experience. It's something I wanted to do, have a go and see what it was all about. There's a number of courses we had to do to be able to go and get that job. So I went down to Poole and did all the courses I needed to do. Yeah, it was all right. I'm not a great sea person, to be honest with you. Never come into contact with any pirates? No, we didn't. I mean, one of the jobs I did, we weren't armed, but we had 2 Japanese warships with us. So, I mean, nothing was ever going to happen to us that day.
What's your link with the Japs, man? You've done a few jobs.
Yeah, I know, it's twice.
You're just deep in it right now.
Maybe I'm liked by the Japanese for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's good. It's good. What I used to like about that was you could go and do 10 days, come home and not go again unless you wanted to. When I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, I was on a contract. Yeah. So I had a rotation. I had to stay within that. There, if I did 10 days and come back and called the company in 2 months' time, I could go and do another 10 days. I think it's all changed now. But
financially, though, like, you know, it seems like you said to me earlier, like, I'm all right for money, but it's not about money with me. I just like to keep busy. Was you financially stable from the job, like from the private security abroad when you come here? Or, you know, like how, you know, because people out there probably would like to set up their own private security firm. Was you just lucky with it? Or, you know, was it you was financially stable and you invested that?
No, I never really had any money when I come back from Afghanistan. I had a house, actually, which was paid for, but I didn't live in it. So
through the army, yeah?
No, from working private security in the Middle East. Yeah. So I was quite fortunate with that. I bought first place when I was 26 years old. But yeah, no, I didn't have any money, mate. I moved up to London. I rented a room off some woman in Fred's with her now, Australian girl. in Battersea, and then I just took it from there. Really, so I did the Dubai Royal Family job. Just trying to save a little bit of money, because obviously London's never been cheap. It's worse than it's ever been before right now. But back then it still weren't cheap. Didn't know anyone. Didn't know any companies. Just got myself out there, really.
Yeah.
Started building it up.
Have you ever built any close relationships with any of the people you've bodyguarded?
No, some of them you get on maybe a little bit better than others. It just depends on them, and depends how long you spend with people.
Do you have like long-term contracts maybe, or those ones where every time they come here, they come to you?
Yeah, well, with Bella, I did Bella for like 2. Bella was the last job I did, Bella Hadid. When I finished with Bella, I never really, that's when I finished in the industry. But I did 2.5 years or something. Whenever she come to London, she always had me at the time.
Really?
And then obviously I finished, I gave up.
I thought you was going to say, obviously then I fucked her. That's what I thought. No, yeah, she's different, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's different. What and what do they do? Like what do you do? Sorry, like, you know, what's your...
So for them, so they were obviously, and Kendall, they were fashion models. So quite often they only come to London for work anyway. So maybe London Fashion Week, or they just got to shoot with some fashion brand magazine or whatever. I just do everything. Just make sure their day runs as it should. And
the cars are yours and stuff as well,
no, the cars aren't. Cars were booked by... So the model agency actually sorts it all out and books the security, books the cars. Books
and you
just
else. Sit with them. You just go with them.
Yeah, just make sure that everything runs as it should for the day, and they don't get any problems, yeah.
Did you ever think, like, do you ever, like I would think I was chocolate if that was me, man. I'd be like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you ever, like, think, yeah, this is the fucking life, like, doing this, like, I love this?
No, because certainly by the time I got to doing all the celebrity stuff, the whole experience was just a job for me.
Yeah.
I've been doing it years by then. I wasn't bothered about being in papers.
Status,
I wasn't bothered about being with celebrities. I would have looked after a celebrity just as willingly as I would have looked after a multi-billionaire guy. No one even knew him. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just enjoyed being a bodyguard really back then, and that's all I did. But towards the end of that time, I didn't even like being bodyguard anymore. I just got fed up with it. 17 years, I think, all in all.
Kevin Costner over here.
Yeah.
I sang him a song yesterday.
Yeah, it's good as well. Yeah, she doesn't really cover that.
Whitney Houston. Yeah. What was the, who was the most awkward you worked with?
Awkward? So normally I get to choose who I work with. As in, I can say no to the job if I don't want to do it. So no, all you've got to say is you're not available. No, I've all been good.
He ain't giving us nothing, is he? And you still do this then, like in your spare time, or you've done with it? Are you?
Yeah, I'm done. Nearly 4.5, nearly 5 years, maybe now. I haven't. I did one job actually. I did do one job. I left, and when I leave something, I leave, and when I go to do the next something, I'm doing it, and that's the end of it. But because of COVID this time, I was going through acting school at the time. I got a diploma in screen acting, and because of COVID, it messed a lot of stuff up, obviously. So the security company sort of kind of lost its work temporarily all that time. So I didn't have a lot of money, and a mate of mine who looks after Halsey, the singer out in LA, said, "Oh, we're doing a music video in Prague. Will you come and work with us for the month?" And it was right on the third lockdown. And at the time, I wasn't with my girlfriend, who I'm with now. Back then, I was single, and I lived on my own. I was getting fed up with being stuck in. So I said, "Can you get me out to Prague then?" And they said, "Yeah, we're going to get got some visas, and we're allowed to go out there." So I said, "Yeah, go on in." Do you know what? So I actually went back to doing security for 4 or 5 weeks with Halsey. But other than that, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, the exception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's mainly because I needed the money.
What would you come back out of retirement for then with a person? Is there anyone? No? No,
I don't think there would be, mate. I've got no interest in it. Do you know, the only time I would, and this would never ever happen, the only time I would go back to... No. Well, yeah, that definitely would never happen. But the only time I'd ever go back to it, and this is just a stupid sort of situation really, but if if they needed to have me and they couldn't do it without me, obviously I'd go.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if like, say like, for example, Bella or any of these said like, well, listen, I want Simon, like, you know.
Yeah, if they said they wouldn't, literally physically wouldn't do something without it being me, maybe I'd go. But even then I'd have to make sure that you do realise this is a one-off and this is not going to continue, do you know what I mean? So maybe.
Why? What? I know. I understand you're saying when you think of something else, you're on to the next, but you just had enough of it, did you?
Yeah, in the end, a lot of the places I was taking people, particularly in London, you know, I used to eat and drink in these places myself.
Yeah.
And it started getting a bit.
Did you feel like
awkward? Do you know what I mean?
Not just awkward. Did you feel like, I don't know, because as a bodyguard, as much as it's a great job, and no disrespect to any bodyguards, but if you're trying to go into acting yourself and stuff now, you probably feel like, I'm more than this. Did that ever enter your head at all?
A little. I just felt like, easiest way I could say is I felt like I'd grown out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I made a lot of money out of it. It's a great industry. I still earn a lot of money now with the company.
Yeah.
And some people will do it up until their 60s or whatever, and some people don't. And I just done everything I wanted to do, and I felt like I'd grown out of it, really.
Quickly, to be a good bodyguard, what do you need?
What do you need? Oh, you need to be able to work relentlessly when you're super tired. Probably the biggest one. Work well under pressure. Be able to arrange, organise and manage. I would put all those skills long before any sort of fighting skill or anything like that, really.
Interesting. How do you deal with a stalker?
How do you deal with a stalker? Depends what sort of stalker it is. A lot of the time, local police obviously would be informed and would know about it. It just depends on what the threat is, really.
Yeah, interesting. All right, then. So, acting. Where's this come from?
So,
is this a natural progression from bodyguard? I'm joking.
It's something I started actually a long time ago in 2010. When I was with the Dubai Royal Family, I just finished the job, and so going back again actually to when I was in Iraq, private security. The guy who used to run the armory there, who used to give the weapons out. I was talking to an older guy, been in the military for a long time. He's a lot older than me at the time. And I said to him, what was you doing before you come out here, Vin? He said, I've been doing a bit of film work. So I said, what's that? He said, well, I was a military advisor in Troy. I thought, that sounds...
What's that, behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's behind the scenes, but he's a military advisor
What a film.
So I thought, that sounds like quite a good job. So, he spoke to me about it and he gave me a number on a card. And I put that card in my bag because obviously I was working in Iraq at the time. I knew I wouldn't be able to do it. And then when I first moved into this place in Battersea, I had that bag and I took it and the card fell out. And I thought, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about that. And the place was in Shepherd's Bush, just around the corner. So I gave them a call. I signed on to their books. They said there was nothing available until next summer in August. So I thought, okay, well, I've done all the paperwork for it and I thought I can forget about that now until next summer. I went in the gym about a week later, come out as a voicemail saying, hi, Simon, can you fly out to Morocco next week to do a film with Matt Damon?
Matt Damon?
Yeah, a Green Zone. So I thought, it's the lads winding me up because I was told there was nothing till next August. So I Googled the number and lo and behold, it was this place. I went back down their office.
Voice note was Matt Damon.
Yeah, and I flew out there. And that was my first film, 2010, was Green Zone, Matt Damon. Yeah.
You was a stunt double for Dave Bautista.
Well, it wasn't a stunt double. Everyone always says that. It's just a body double. So a lot of people don't really know that kind of happens. So all the stuff that it doesn't need him for, but it kind of needs him in it, you normally get a body double because it's tons of stuff. Even if it's just setting up cameras and all sorts of different pieces, there's loads of stuff you can be used for as a body double. Long before, you don't really get seen. Obviously, you never know I'm in it because you're not going to know it's, like him got his costume on and everything else. But I did that. I've done a few. Sherlock Holmes 2, Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. That's a Guy Ritchie movie. I worked on that. Brilliant film. Yeah, I worked on that for not all of it. I got stuck at sea. I went and did one of those jobs halfway through the movie, and I got stuck. The Smarty Pilot one. Yeah, and I got. It's meant to be a 10-day job. I didn't get back for like 6 or 7 weeks. Or something like that. No way. And luckily, they let me go back on at the end.
What's that feeling quickly of just being stuck at sea? It's
not very nice because you can't let anyone know neither. But at the same time, there's nothing to do about it. So just get over it. You can't do nothing. You can't do nothing.
Yeah. So what is, I've had someone else who has been in the acting world a little bit, Teddy Stone. Shout out to Teddy.
So, yeah.
And like, one thing he said is like, 99% of actors are unemployed, you know, until they find the job.
Yeah.
How hard is it to find some sort of role?
I think it depends on a lot of things. I'm obviously typecast, so bodyguard, soldier, police officer, prison inmate, prison officer, like mafia, all that sort of stuff.
So the heavy.
Yeah. So
what's that called?
What?
You say typecast?
Typecast, yeah. So like Jason Statham, he's typecast, for instance.
So yeah, there's only a certain.
It's the same site. He does all the same sort of things in every film he does. He's very good.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, but you know what though? In a way though, I love Jason Statham on Snatch. I love Jason Statham on Mean Machine as the monk.
Yeah.
I think it's like with Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson was a great actor. He done Taken, and it's just the same. In most films. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, is that option being a typecast? Is it easier to get jobs then? Is that what?
Well, no. So it's not easier, but if you've got an edge on what it would be like if you're just sort of don't really know how to describe, but someone who's their acting ability might be amazing, but to look at, they fit in the same category as another 25 million people.
I understand.
Martin Ford. I don't know if you know Martin. He's a huge guy.
The bald fella.
Yeah, really, real big tattoos. Nice guy. And he's done very well.
He's not going to play Forrest Gump, is he?
No, exactly. And he's done very well. So obviously he's typecast, and predominantly probably got into movies due to his sheer size. But what you got to remember is when you get into these things, if it is because of how you look, you've still got to be good at what you do.
Of course.
Because someone like Martin Ford, if he turned up, he looks great. But if he can't act, do you know what I mean? And for the parts he does, I think he does a really good strong man part. You know what I mean? He's good at what he does. So yeah, I think being typecast can help.
Yeah, okay.
And stick to what you know. I'm 44, so I didn't go 3 years performing arts school, and I'm better to stick with guns because I know guns. Stick with all the sort of thing in the life that I know.
Are you happy to play are you happy with just like being in different films and playing a backing role maybe, or have you got a goal where you would like to play a main character?
Don't know really. I'm always happy for any part I can get in a movie, especially when it's the bigger movies. I like to be in a Bond movie. Probably it's not going to be 007, I doubt, but just to be in a
villain.
Just to be in a Bond movie, it would be a great thing. Anything as an actor, as long as I'm an actor in it, even if it's only for 3 or 4 minutes, if I've got a part in it and I get killed, or
I'm glad you like that.
I'm happy with it. Yeah, I don't think you should be too sort of set on.
But what? Do you think you're a good actor? Do you think you can act?
For what I do, I can act. Don't think I'm best in the world, for sure.
It's nice to see you're not delusional then. And,
I know where I sit with it all. Let's put it like that, and that helps for getting work. If you know where you sit with it all, it definitely helps for getting work. Some people, do castings expecting to get just things they're probably never going to get.
Yeah,
it's just fine, but you'd be all day doing that.
But things can progress. Like you said, you get better, you get your foot in the door, more networking.
Yeah, it's like everything. It's like any business. It is a business, really. Freelance actor, it has to be run like a business, getting yourself out there, marketing yourself. But also you've got to do the courses to make sure you're good enough to be able to do the work, and you've got to be able to pull it off should you get the chance to do it.
And what, if there was, so Bond would be the thing you would like, that would be your goal, like?
Yeah, I only think with, so a lot of the time when I used to work as a bodyguard, I started getting put in a lot of magazines, looking like Jason Statham, like Vogue and people like that used to often comment on it and that. So if Jason Statham, I mean, I don't feel I look nothing like him. If you stood us next to each other, we probably don't. But
it's just the bald hair and the dark eyebrows, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He's got no hair, but
I think you're bigger than him.
Yeah, he's not a particularly big guy. Yeah, he's a lot older than me as well. So I'd like to do something with him. I'd like to do something with Jason if the chance could. Again, big or small, doesn't
Furious?
matter.
Would you like a Fast and the Furious franchise?
Yeah, Yeah, anything like that. It's all within keeping with where you're probably likely to see me, if you know what I mean.
Do you like the British films more than the worldwide, or?
So a good friend of mine, Andrew Loveday, he
Carnaby.
Yeah, he has a really good film production company. They've just started a new one now for quite a number of movies which are going to be coming up in the next year or so. So, and they're an independent film company, and some of the stuff they put out is like amazing for an independent film company. You can't choose between someone like an independent film company and say Disney.
Of course.
Because, do you know what I mean? The budget's different, the actors are different, the whole thing's different. So do I prefer British movies to American movies, let's say? I'm happy to be in both.
Yeah.
I'd say that. I'm happy to be in both, yeah, because they all come up. It's not a very fair comparison. I don't. Do you know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. I think it's just as you know, as a fan watching films, maybe, you know, I love a British film, especially like a true crime.
It's not as much. Film industry in the UK is not that. It's not that big at all, really.
No.
You know, all like Disney and Netflix and all that, they all do work in the UK, but they're not originated British film.
British film, no.
No.
You know. Yeah, fair enough then, mate. I wish you all the best with it. Like, I'm sure we'll see you on the screen soon.
Yeah.
You know,
I hope so.
Yeah, we will. Don't worry. So, you're wearing this smart bomber jacket you got on right now, and I just want to say quickly, seeing you've started this brand, SNL, Simon Newton London,
Yeah,
correct?
that's
It's
right,
not
yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
No, it's not. No.
Just
It's
checking.
going to be bigger than that.
Going to be bigger than that. I like your confidence. When I seen it, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. When I seen it online,
Yeah.
I thought, oh yeah, he's got another brand. Someone's doing another brand. It is what it is, you know. Like, I'm sure it'll just be, you know, he'll do well in his, in his field, but it just be average.
Yeah.
You know, looking at it now, I wish, you know when you take a photo of a rainbow and you're like, the camera don't do it any justice. Like, looking at it now, it really looks quality, like quality.
Right,
made.
it is 100% quality. And obviously I'm going to say it because it's mine, but everyone who's seen it in real life, if you like, seen it on, the first thing they've always commented on is the quality of the jacket. And it is, all the materials and the workmanship on it as well. It's a good quality bomber jacket.
I'd wear one. If you had my size, that is. You have to give me a big one, but no, it's lovely. Why did you get involved in this?
So again, going back, it's a little bit security related, just a little bit. Going back to when I was a bodyguard, one of the things I used to always wear was a bomber jacket, and it wasn't my company back then. Obviously, it's someone else's, so I'm not going to say that.
Don't plug them.
Yeah, but yeah, I always got known for wearing a bomber jacket. And one day I thought, I'm going to make my own. Just make my own.
Everything in there, like, kind of to your tailored, then, you know, to your
This whole thing's me
comfort.
in terms of colours, design. It's all been done by me, but that's kind of half. There's two ways to make clothes. The colours and the design are important because people got to look at it and they got to like it. But the second thing people normally look at is the fit. How does it fit, and is it a nice fit? I have a guy, Mike, who works for me for that, and he does like the tech pack you put together for the factory, because he does all the sizing and make sure it's probably more important. Well, both is important as each other, because if it doesn't look cool, you won't buy it, and if it looks really cool but it don't fit, you won't want it neither. So,
well, one thing I always know about a bomber jacket, it has like an orange inside.
Yeah, I've gone red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah,
as
it
well?
was. Yeah, I just think it looks slightly more.
Flashy.
Yeah, classier. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted something you could wear in the day or at night. So not necessarily just out on a Saturday afternoon. You could wear it at night if you wanted, but also something that you almost can't wait to go out because you want to put your jacket on. Yeah, it's just nice, and it's one of those things because not many, well, hardly anyone in the world at the moment has got one of these jackets. So,
well, when I look at when I normally look at a bomber jacket, it's standard, it's bog standard, you know, and you look at it and you think, yeah, it's a nice jacket to wear because they are all weathers, And, you know, if you're in a bit of a scrap, if you're a bouncer or whatever, but like, you know, the zips on it, they might be scagged or, you know, it just looks battered.
Yeah.
But looking at that, like it's really
crisp.
looks crisp. The zip is mint. The collar, the actual material of it, the way it sits
It's
on
quilted
you.
on the inside
It's
as well.
It's
here,
lovely.
so
And the red is just
nice.
banging.
Yeah, it's nice.
How much?
295 they're up for now.
Really?
For male and female, so the women aren't left out on this one. It's for everybody. It's unisex, yeah.
Well, this is interesting because, yeah, you know, it's not like you was a worldwide fucking worldly known fucking professional fucking boxer or footballer or whatever who just come out with this brand. You're not Logan Paul coming with a prime can and selling it fucking, you know, they're going now for £10 on the street. Like, you know, you know. You've been confident with the price you've made on these. Like, it's not like you're selling them for £40 or something.
Yeah. I wanted to go middle market where you could, I mean, 295 is a lot of money, especially at the moment for people. But it's not
a bomber jacket.
Yeah, but it's not your Gucci or Prada £2,000. But also it's not your £120 H&M maybe. So I wanted to try and go somewhere in between. So if you can stretch to 295, I wanted you to put your £2,500 Gucci jacket on for 295. That's where I was. So when you look at it like that, 295 is not a lot of money. If you're getting a £2,500 jacket for 295, that's now not a lot of money.
Well, you are someone who like in all your photos I see, you dress well. You know, you pride yourself in what you're wearing. Apart from that first gig when you had a crease shirt, I suppose. But apart from that time in Luton Airport's fucking toilet.
Oh, that one, yeah. I've moved on a little bit.
Yeah,
since
moved
then.
on a little
Next
bit
levels,
then.
I think.
And I like to think like I got a good taste in clothes. Maybe not today, but no, I think I've got a good eye at something. And if I ever wanted to make a brand, I don't want to be fucking making something that people go, this is tacky.
No.
And do you think that your eye for fashion has gone into this?
Yeah, massively. Over the years, often people have asked me, where'd you get your trainers from? Where'd you get your jeans from? What T-shirt's that? Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying my dress sense appeals to everyone, but I know it does appeal to some people for sure. And everything I'm going to make, and I'm just hoping it's, you know, it will appeal to probably even the majority rather than the minority.
Yeah. Yeah. And how is this looking for you? Have you got like a plan to open a shop? Is it online? Like, you know, where are you with it?
Yeah, so at the moment it's all online at simonnewtonlondon.com. Stores, I would like to go into somewhere like, I won't have my own store. These days having stores, it's a big cost. Everything's online anyway now as well.
You'd like to have a little store, so
I won't, but I'd like to go Flannels, something like that, or Farfetch, which is online as well. But, you know, so I would take it out to Selfridges maybe in the next year.
House of Fraser, like John Lewis.
Yeah, possibly. You
just want a decent.
I don't know if I do House of Fraser, John Lewis.
No,
I don't know if it's
Sports Direct. No, innit? Like it's what's his name? Ashley. Mike Ashley.
Yeah.
Why not John? Why not them?
What's that? Sorry.
Why not those two shops?
Probably not quite where I'd want to put the brand.
Yeah.
For those two, yeah. There's nothing wrong with them. They do good clothes, but for me, probably not. You know, Flannels is all designer brands.
Yeah.
It's a perfect place for something like that.
I think it is as well, because in places like Flannels, it is a place where you can go, you have never seen a make before.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, do you know what? You look at the price tag and you think, yeah, this is expensive. This has got to be good.
Yeah. I mean,
do you know what I mean?
And this is where this sits in somewhere.
You get a
like
load
that
of drug
of
dealers in here just splashing out.
Yeah. I mean, you don't think you go in House of Fraser to buy £300 jacket. You might, you know, but in general, you're more likely to go in Flannels if you want something.
And also, if I go to places like House of Fraser, I'm looking for a brand that I already know. Like you know, I'm going to get a Ralphie,
but
I'm going to get
I'm
going to get or get a Belstaff, or I'm going to get like something that I know is there. You know, I'm not going to chance it on something I don't know.
No, it's got to be in a better place for you to want to chance it. You know, it's got to be in the right environment. My thing is with this, I want people to buy it because they genuinely like it and want to wear it. You know, and if you don't like it, don't buy it. You look at Tommy Mallet and what he's done. Yeah, with his trainers and that. Yeah, he's
really a household name in places like Flannels now, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. But biggest thing is when you open the box, comes in a nice box, this snakeskin box. You're not disappointed. You don't get it out and go £300 for that. Do you know what I mean? You get it out and go, okay, I see why it was 295 now. It's quite easy to see once you've got one in your hand. It's a shame because the website, you know, and it's social media. Obviously, we've got social media, TikTok and Instagram for the brand as well, which is Simon Newton London on both. But you can't really see it. You can't really see the quality, and it's a shame because if it was in store now, you walked past, you probably have a look at it just because of the quality of it. There's not many bombers of that quality at the moment.
Have you got any kind of like strategic plan to get this out, people wearing it, or, you know?
Like, it's got marketing teams, so people will start seeing it on social media soon, coming up quite a lot on ads. And obviously people with the right people in the right areas who are likely to wear these sort of things get targeted as well. So
yeah, you need people to wear them as well. Get some people to wear it.
Yeah, well, and the more people that wear them, obviously, the more you start selling as well, it gets out there more. But I've gifted a few to sort of celebrities.
You want to wrap one around Kendall Jenner or something like This is where I know, and I admire you for this, in the sense of, you know, you've put that away, but it's things like these little jobs you've got, these networks, and you need to tie together.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's still elements of my past that I'm using now.
Yeah,
of course. It's a thing is with any brand, it's a slow burner. Can't expect to just start it off and make a load of money. You know, it's not that. And to me, to be honest with you, I'm not worried about making money out of this. I've got a very good security business. I wanted another good business. I'd just chosen this to be the other good business, really. I like the idea of having two. I might even have a third business in 10 years.
Have some sort of legacy with it, innit? It's not about like gear for a short time, like
exactly.
Some fucking brands have been.
I just don't want people buying something and they're not happy with it. Do you know what I mean? I want them to put it on and think, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? You know, it's a good choice buying this.
Yeah.
That's what I want, especially when you buy it offline. You know, that's what I want. And if I can't do that, I won't do it then. I'll pick another business. So that's why we've gone with the quality, because I don't want, you know, if you don't like the design and the colours, then fine, there's nothing I can do about that. But if you don't like the workmanship and the materials, I don't want to get into a cheap thing that people aren't going to like.
Was this the first time round that you was happy with it, or
you do a few samples in different colours and stuff. But bearing in mind we're dealing with China, the language barrier, my Chinese isn't, you know, much outside of a menu. We did good. Yeah, it's difficult. So the jackets and the tailoring's all done, the manufacturer's done in China, but the fittings and the the logo and everything is done in Hong Kong, and the packaging's done in Turkey, I believe, actually. Or it might be UK, I'm not sure.
It's not straightforward, is it?
No, it all gets linked up. Everything gets sent to China to be put on the jackets when they're made. But but the quality has to be good. There's no point, you know. I'm not interested in doing a 2-bit sort of brand, if you know what I mean. I'd choose something else to do if not.
Well, yeah, like, you know, I wish you all the best with it. I'm sure, you know, it seems like you know where you want it to go, and that's what's important.
Get as big as I can get it. That's
and you're not trying to sell it short. That's the other thing.
No,
when you value something like that, it's always important, and it's always a good sign.
Yeah, it's got to be right. I'm not worried about it. You can't. I don't think with clothing. I think it has to be right. Clothing's not a good place just for a cash cow. You know, just to make a load of money and leave. You're never going to do that with a fashion brand, and you're never going to do that with clothing. Long term, if you make it as big as Ralph Lauren and Abercrombie and Fitch, all the middle market Boss, you know, they're kind of middle market brands. They're worth a lot of money, but there's so many middle market brands that start up and go by the wayside. For what reason, I'm not sure. Maybe people think they're going to make a lot more money than they are. But I think you've got to have a love for clothes. You've got to have a love for fashion. Yeah. And that's my main thing. And the money comes at the end for me, really, with this.
You'll be changing that now to Simon Newton legacy.
Yeah, hopefully one day.
You know? Fair play to you, mate. What else have you got then? Future plans, like anything else
So I'm quite busy, obviously, with the 2 businesses now. I'm still carrying on doing a lot of podcasts, like I'm with you now, publications, newspapers, UK TV I do a little bit, ITV I've done, and GMB News. And then next year, we've got 2 British films. I am looking at one Hollywood film out in the States. I don't know if you've heard the actors' strike they had.
Well, I'm fuming, so been watching this series called Yellow Jackets. People think I'm a weirdo, but Yeah, season 3's been delayed, man, because
of that. Yeah, so they've come
strike.
to last week. I think they come to some sort of agreement, and it's kind of getting sorted out. But that's held me up in the States. With sort of being able to approach and get on with what I want to do out there. But hopefully, there might be a film out there for me next year as well.
So we might come back in 3 years' time, then, like with.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully, this will be a lot bigger, and there'll be
I might be wearing it.
A lot of people wearing it and happy wearing it. Plus a few movies.
And is it just bombers at the moment?
At the moment, it is, yeah, but it's going to be changing. I think we're all looking at next piece could be a tracksuit, and then we're just moving on. I'll probably try and do some t-shirts. Where a lot of people ask me for t-shirts, especially so I'll try and get them for the start of summer.
Yeah, you've got a t-shirt on, haven't you?
This is just can't buy that. Basically,
the gym or a top or just normal top.
No, it's just a normal t-shirt. But I'm probably gonna do polo shirts. They're smarter. Yeah. I like the idea of more evening wear than casual. Even though it's a streetwear kind of thing, it's still evening wear as well. Hence the red really and the black.
Yeah,
and
I'd have one.
Yeah,
when you start making them again and bigger sizes.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah, start selling them in millets.
Giacomo.
Yeah.
Don't you dare, mate. Don't sell yourself short, kid. What just have your take of the world we're in right now, the current world events. Are you watching what goes on in the world, or are you just watching what you do?
I used to watch what goes on in the world a little bit because that used to determine where I might go in the world, work-wise. It doesn't for me anymore. So I'll be quite honest, I shut it all out. I've got so much to do with 2 businesses and the film thing. Essentially, it's 3 businesses, really. I try not to. I don't watch TV. I only have, at my house, I've got a TV in every room, but I've got Netflix and Prime, and that's it. I don't watch normal TV at all, which means I don't get to see any of the news. And I reckon Netflix on a Sunday for 2 hours, that's it. That's the only time I do it. If my girlfriend's staying down, sometimes I might watch a movie, but I tend to only watch documentaries. I like to watch some stuff I can learn.
That's it. It's always got to be factual.
Yeah, I love documentaries if I learn something from it. So I do that a little bit. But yeah, I don't watch TV and stuff, so I don't really know what's going on in the world.
How are you mentally, like, Simon, with everything you've gone through in your life? Like, I know because maybe one day you'll write a book, or maybe one day you'll come and open up. But like, obviously, there's things like we've spoken about that you've kind of just like, I don't want to, you don't talk about those things. Yeah. How are you mentally, like, as a person?
Personally, I think I'm fine. If you ask other people, they might say different. But no, I mean, look, considering the occupations I've had over the years, I think I've come out very unscathed. My outlook on life's probably different in terms of, this is why I do so much stuff. I'm not really worried about failure. I'm not scared of failure, scared of things going wrong, not getting things right. I don't care about any of that. Back in my previous job, the worst case scenario is you could be killed. So I offset everything against that now.
Yeah.
Am I going to be killed doing this? There's nothing I'm going to be doing really here which is going to give me, it's going to have me killed. So I just have a go at everything now. It's given me confidence in that respect. Because back in the day, you used to weigh things up to see if it's going to take your life or not.
Yeah.
There's none of that. So I'm all right. I'm good as gold.
Nah, man, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, mate. Honestly, really have. Thank you for coming down,
You're welcome.
There is one thing we do with all our guests. We ask them down their camera if they can, this one, if you can just send a message out to the people, maybe a positive message, a lesson to be learned. Give it to them to see us out.
I think the biggest one I would always say is the day you give up, you've got nothing left. And it's the same with anything, whether it's a business, the day you stop trading, and it doesn't matter what contract or what service or anyone who wants your product comes through the door, they can't have it because you've stopped trading. So if you want to do it, wake up in the morning and just go and do it. And that's what I've always done. It doesn't matter what people say, what people think, just go and do it.
Simon, thank you very much for coming down, mate.
No worries, mate.
Really enjoyed it. Hopefully next time I see you, I'll have a nice bomber jacket.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wish you all the best with everything going on, mate. Honestly. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Well, you should have already done that, but there we go. Please leave a comment. Go and follow Simon on Simon Newton. Is it just Simon Newton on Instagram?
So on Instagram, simon.newton, yeah.
Simon.Newton on Instagram. Any other?
Not really. I've got, for the brand, I've got Simon Newton London for Instagram and Simon Newton London for TikTok. And then my personal account, Simon Newton. You can see most of the stuff on there. I've got a couple of accounts, but that's my main one, Simon.Newton.
Yeah. Give me one life lesson before you go.
One life lesson.
What have you learned from all this?
Life's cheap.
I'll leave you on that one, guys. Stay central.
The Central Club.